Greetings, everyone, and welcome to yet another exciting edition of Shoulda, Hada D8, where we invite friends, family, and fans to join us as we talk about the events that happened on the previous episodes of Descent into the Void and the Natural Ones. This time, we have the cast of Descent into the Void, the entire cast with us. So, hello to Zeki, who plays Cal.
Hey everybody, it's Zektown.
Hello to Travis, who plays King.
Hi everyone.
Hello to Alex, who plays Monako.
Hey.
Hello to Adam, who plays Duran.
What up, internet?
And hello to Lewis, who plays Horatio.
Hello. At Els on Twitter.
Always with the extra.
Zeki said it.
Branding. Respect it.
Your name is more than L's. You should explain that shit. It's like L_LL.
It is underscore. It's at underscore LLLZ underscore.
What?
Yeah.
Mine is at OMG. It's Travi.
That's a good
The
one.
apostrophe S or just like
Mine is at That's So Omar. Thanks for coming, everybody. So, last time on Descent into the Void, we finally made it to Thelos, the arcane capital, and saw all the magic-y, majestic magic of this arcane capital, from the floating, flying people to the several different districts, all labeled with their own element, to your amazing, magnificent mansion, to finally meeting the Corporis Arcana, to Horatio getting some deep shit with the Archmage, who is currently nameless until you find out his name next time. So, the first question goes to Horatio. So, Lewis, we saw a lot of lore come at you. Lore that probably Horatio didn't even know himself as he's discovering. But before we get into that, what was his thoughts of the arcane capital? From getting into there, getting scanned, getting called out for being a Corporis member in a positive way, not a negative way, to then seeing the magistry of the entire city.
He felt like he was home. He's very intrigued in all the intricacies of the city itself, and he actually would like to spend some time there if possible, but he knows that time is of the essence right now, but he would like to just kind of enjoy the city at some point if he can.
Thoughts on, does Horatio have any thoughts on increasing his magical prowess here in the arcane capital?
I mean, if it's a possibility, then yes. He kind of has a lot on his mind at the moment, but I'm pretty sure that once we as the group get like at least a night of respite, he kind of might get a little bit curious and try to see what is so great, or why this place is called the arcane capital. He's probably going to try to look into that and see what's up.
And Horatio, as well as King, as you first entered and got your magical prowess scanned, you were called out for being a Corporis. How does Horatio feel having that brought back up? As we know, he is no longer a Corporis member, he's a seeker, but that family lineage was kind of shoved into his face in the very beginning. What was going through his mind?
Honestly, he was just thinking, great, another shadow I gotta be under. Like he's had to live with the fact that the Cain name carries so much weight that it completely skipped his mind that in the arcane, or he was completely oblivious, I should say, to the fact that in the arcane capital, the Dularian name would carry even more, especially with the Corporis.
Okay. And then not only were you taken to the side room, but so was your ally, King. So next question goes to King. So Travis, you scanned your finger and broke the charts, so to speak. What was going through King's mind as everyone's freaking out over his unknown power?
I pretty much expected that to be the case. Like I think that I sort of knew that, like, if they're going to be measuring magical prowess, having a god inside of you is going to, like, if there's any scanners, it's going to show up. So that's why I sort of lingered to the back. But because the guy was being a little bit of like a jerk, I like kept my finger on longer just to sort of fuck with him a little bit, which I thought was like funny.
Yeah, some trolling there, but
I did a little trolling, yeah. I pulled a little bit of Lewis into me in that moment.
What?
It's funny because he like doesn't actually troll.
Yeah. But I feel like they were being sassy from the beginning, so I was like, I'm going to sass him a little bit too. But that was interesting. I didn't honestly expect to be brought in the back, because I thought that they would be like, okay, your power's enormous and divine, so I guess you're okay. But I was a little taken aback when they're like, we don't know if it's malevolent or not. And thankfully, Horatio was there to help King through like a, bureaucratic moment, because, I didn't want to have to be like, I'm a god! I wanted sort of someone else to like take the reins in that moment.
Yeah, no, that would have been bad. They would have freaked the fuck out.
Yeah, so I'm really glad that Horatio was there to be like, he's with me.
Yeah, I will definitely say Horatio being there as a Corporis member, which, as you all have realized, Corporis are everywhere. You saw the magical signs of Corporis on everything in some shape or form. And him being who he is, he definitely aided you in there, because if someone just walked into your kingdom was like, I've god powers, they're not just gonna be like, okay, cool, have fun. They're gonna be like, and time to experiment and discover, especially in a kingdom full of mages. They're just like, what is this sorcery? Sleep him.
Yeah, sleep him. Bind him
closely. Bind him. Bring him to the chambers.
But what I want to know, and this next question goes to Duran. So Adam, you were separated from your love, and it was a very scary moment because you have no idea. You were taken to one room and you had to trust that he would be okay after all that happened. What was going through Duran's mind at that time?
I think Duran was a little nervous about it, but luckily enough, Horatio was there, and Duran super trusts Horatio. If Horatio says he's going to do something, Duran believes it 100%. So like when he saw King go away with Horatio said he'd bring him back. He knew that he would see King again.
Yeah, in that moment, if I can interject, I don't want you to think that King didn't trust Horatio, because he does. But I wanted there to be like a moment of like, oh my god, like I'm being separated from him, right. and then have that like come out, and then a moment played through, and then that interaction happened, and I like calmed down. So I wanted it to sort of be like, it's not that I don't trust you, it's just that I'm being pulled from him.
Right, and I think that's what Horatio understood from it. Like he saw that. I mean, you said it in Elvish. He understands Elvish, so it was like, don't leave me. It was like, oh, okay.
Because I like just had that like whole big experience. It only happened a few days ago. So
yeah. So Horatio totally understood. He didn't see it as a distrust issue. It was more like, okay, these guys are growing closer, and there is some confusion as to what's going on. They don't know where King is going, so it totally made sense. And just the fact that Horatio knew he was with King, he was like, listen, I'm not going to let anything happen to him.
Yeah.
To bring comfort to Duran and hopefully King as well.
Yeah, and you definitely did. It was almost like a snap, like a snap reaction, like, and then like after I processed through, it was like, no, I'm with Horatio, like I'm okay.
He's like the nicest, most like trustworthy dude, and Duran's mind, the whole group, well, other than King, of course, but Horatio's like the nicest, most trustworthy person possibly like ever. He would never do anything bad. He let a little girl play with his owl. He's a great guy.
Ew.
I appreciate
phrasing.
I appreciate the vote of confidence.
So I asked this question to King, the other should have had a D8 prior. So I'm going to ask this to Duran. Is Duran living in the moment with his relationship with King, or does the object of mortality come into play? As Duran is a full elf and King's a half elf, and your life expectancy vastly differs.
Well, the thing is, Duran's 100. He's pretty young for an elf. He's kind of immature in a lot of ways, and he's kind of just happy for what's going on. He hasn't really thought of the super duper long term. He actually has no idea how long half elves live for. I think he just assumes he's gonna live for like a bajillion years, hopefully.
Oh no.
Oh no.
But like he said before, he's just happy for every second he gets to spend with King because they spent so much time fighting and risking their lives together. And now, since they've gotten really close, he has a chance to try to like really, really take advantage of that and express how he feels. And I think he's living for today right now.
All right, interesting. So, after that, you all got your classes. Most of you, since technically all of you are very magical, with the exception of Duran, who has no spell slots. So, but still a magic user in the form of his weapons. You all were placed into the Light District, which is the highest district next to the nobility, and set upon your way to look at the city of the Arcane Capital. So thoughts on the gondola ride and seeing the separation between, I would say separation. Well, no, it is separation, using that magical field, and it gets stronger and tougher the further you get into it. So, Monaco, Alex, so what are your first thoughts on seeing Thelos above, from high up above?
Oh, it's like, I don't know, magical, but not like saying, oh, it's got magic in it. Like, it obviously is magical, but like magical, like, wow, that's so cool and incredible. I loved like just all the different visualizations of the different well-described districts, and it's got all the different rings, and they're all so different. And it's like you go in and they get thick, and then she lost her mind over it. She thought it was so cool.
Especially because Monaco hasn't really been out anywhere. Everyone here, including Cal, has ventured off into the world, except for Monaco, who's mostly stayed in Shiverin. So this is all new to her.
Yeah, she's a small town Shiverin girl who is finally seeing the world, and it's for the first time. Just wow, things are different here. Buildings sure are tall.
Is she living in a lonely world?
She took the midnight gondola going straight
Anywhere.
to Thelos.
Light District, actually.
It wasn't actually anywhere. It was the Light District, to our mansion.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but yeah.
So, but on your way, so you're not all of you are new to this city. Cal, although Zeki is new to you, but not new to Cal. So going through this, but Cal's never been beyond the Gem District, as he's much stronger than he was before. Now seeing it, so what's Cal experience as of like experiencing something new, yet being more experienced than the rest of the group?
I think there was like a feeling of safety at first, like, oh, I've done this before. Put the finger down, then go through. There's like going through TSA or something like that for like an airport to like a plane ride.
Mm-hmm.
But being stuck on the fourth layer, the gem layer, he only got to see some like magic items being used and some stuff like that. So it wasn't the full effect, I think, of what Thelos has to offer, which I think is where he kind of doesn't have the same, like, I'm going to the Magic Kingdom for the first time magic feeling, but maybe like, oh, now I'm bringing my kids to the Magic Kingdom for the first time. They're all experiencing the magic, and like that outside lens of, hey, this is what my friends get to experience for the first time. It's slightly new to me. There's like new additions to the ride or whatever, but that feeling of happiness comes more from his newfound family enjoying this city for the first time.
Awesome. So you guys finally landed after passing all those mini districts until you got to Light District and got your own mansion. So thoughts on two things. One, your mansion that's basically dedicated to you for the time being, and two, the weirdness of Mandan, your guide, as well as the automatons who seem to fuse out of the material of walls, and walking around and multiplying to some exponential amount. We'll go to Travis first.
So we haven't really dug into this about King's background, but he's heard stories of like big cities from his parents, because his mother used to be nobility, so he knows what major cities and things are like. So he's super excited to see it, and experience it and like be in this place where all of these crazy cool things come about. And he is also creeped out by the fact that like they're constantly listening, and I think he's aware of that. So I'm sort of riding the line with like, oh, enjoy every moment of this, but also try and stay aware.
Duran, same question.
Duran is a bit. He's really confused and awed about all this magical stuff. So the house elves are all very magical and confusing to him because he doesn't know where you draw the line between magic object and magic person yet. So he's a little confused.
All right, Alex, I was going through Monaco, seeing these. Well, not only having your personal guard, who seemed a little shady for a little bit, but then having these watchful eyes.
I mean, she's used to nimble rights, and she just sort of views them as being like in the same kind of class as that. Mm-hmm. She didn't grow up in that, but she did spend a bunch of time in the castle in Frostmoor, and that place is full of nimble rights. So she's used to just like, oh hey. In fact, she called out, and the first time we saw him was her just assuming that there was going to be a nimble right there.
Right. You're right. Yeah. Yeah, you would. This would probably be normal for you mostly because you're surrounded by Nimblerites for many years, as they are the servants of Frostmoor and of Chilford.
Chilford, that's what it's called.
Zeki, going through Cal's mind, seeing these weirdly, possibly suspicious guards and these automatons.
The guard, I'm not very suspicious of. Well, Cal might be because he didn't hear the whole conversation between King and Horatio and the guard saying that he was going to be with them the whole time. So he's kind of put off by the fact that like he thinks they don't need a babysitter, and that's what he thinks that the guard is, kind of like a babysitter spy kind of thing. And the automatons really weird him out. Just completely. I guess he should expect more magical things the deeper he gets into the city, but it's not something you would get used to whenever you're used to having Monaco make breakfast every morning, and everyone kind of arises in the morning to their own rhythm, and it's like right in your face, and I think it's like really abrasive for him. So he's not super comfortable in the mansion itself, although he's conflicted because it's a mansion. It's a nice new place.
Nice.
Not
and
used to that.
you high living,
Yeah.
now compared to all others. And Horatio, what's going through his mind at this, Lewis?
So Horatio's first thought was paranoia, or first feeling was paranoia, because he was like, God, they're gonna listen to everything we're saying. So that means that we have to continue talking in the earrings. And like a million thoughts race through his mind. You get me? Like he's like, we gotta talk through the earrings, but we have to speak individually, and these guys aren't doing it. And like that's a way that it went. And then I guess I don't know who it was, but somebody brought up like, oh, we do give you your privacy. He's still like, okay, sure, but let's not discuss anything sensitive, or let's get in the dome to have these discussions, However, from the magical aspect, he's extremely intrigued. He wants to know how they work, how this entire mansion works, because shit, I mean, it's a dope ass mansion,
Yeah, I kind of see them as, and I have to be cautious since my house is surrounded by them. It kind of reminds me of like G Home or Petexta, aka Google Home and Alexa, and how that they're not listening to you, but are they really listening to you?
Yes.
Like a smart home.
Yeah, it's
Like a
like
smart home.
Yeah, but it's like many spies have many eyes, right?
right. All right, but you guys made it out, slept into the mansion, and Monaco awoken in the morning to perform a ritual, meeting up with her patron once again, and forcibly making an imp submit to her, and then now fooling everyone. Oh, I don't know. Well, this is a question for Alex, aka Monaco, but using it to fool everybody into thinking it's a normal cat. Describe what's going through Monaco's mind and how she's treating this new familiar.
She wants to have it be very close to her. She intends to be very close to her familiar. She wanted to have a companion with whom she could share her secrets, and that's what that cat imp is.
With an attitude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that he did. He doesn't like it, but he'll learn.
I mean, like, devils don't really like to be chained and controlled, but lawful as they are, a pact is made, especially one made by the Burning Hand.
Yeah, that was, and then he gave that the here's the whole plan, the Burning Hand plan.
Oh,
My
yes.
goodness.
Which would segue into my next. The Burning Hand has revealed his plan for King, finally. So it is all out in the open. He wishes to poison him with some concoction and take over his body. What is Monako thinking?
Oh, so it's hard for her because whenever she's in the Burning Hand's presence, she kind of loses it a little bit and just sort of will do whatever he asks. But then afterwards, she's like, "Oh, I feel so guilty about this." So she's kind of like stuck in that place right now where it's like, do I do this thing?
Let me say that my mouth was agape the whole
Same.
time he was talking and explaining that thing to Monako when she was having her moment.
Same. I couldn't believe it.
Let me tell you, I was like, so at the very first, when we came up with the idea of Monako, when Alex brought her to me and we discussed it, I was like, Burning Hand will have a plan, and I was like, the plan will be to take over King, because it was at that point when I was like, okay, now I need to know finalize what's going on with King, which has been revealed as Miley Keys within inside you. So I was like, how perfect would it be if like King is kind of this avatar or this open vessel that these gods and patrons can enter and control, and like vying for basically, I can now have the power of the heavens or hells, but be able to walk in the mortal realm as well. This is what all devils want to do. They want to basically leave and take over. So why not use the power of a god to do so? So I was very happy to see it all come out, and I'm glad you guys were gooped.
You unfolded it perfectly, I have to say. I
Well,
think so.
Yeah, very much so.
I thought it was crazy because how is he supposed to fit inside of King and Duran fit in King at the same time?
Ooh.
Okay, well, now see if we edit that out for the Patreons.
TVMA.
TVMA.
TVMA, yeah.
I have no idea how that's going to end up. I'm beyond curious.
First of all,
Out of
Adam.
character. Yeah, Adam, that was something.
props. I was blindsided by that.
I want to say to all of our fans who read and watch Mawa, what is it? Fuck, I forgot. Go ahead and send me that NSFW artwork.
But I think out of character now, I'm like, oh god, if one devil is fighting to get into King's body, and there's already one god in there, what happens if we like tip that information somehow, not even like on purpose, to some other god? Like, are we now having to like be wary of every god and devil and in existence? Do we have to like constantly have our backs like, oh, try not to have any holy experiences, everyone, because once they find out King is like a worthy vessel.
I mean, I'd like to think that at least the neutral ones and below, I guess, would be willing. I don't know. I can't see like a good god being like, oh, I'm gonna take over this vessel. Maliki kind of didn't.
With the ring.
What was that?
That's gonna be like Gladriel with the ring, though. With enough power, even the goodest of goods could be tempted to use their power.
That too. I mean, that would be crazy, which is why I feel out of character, of course, that King secret can never get out. Because if it gets out, it's over.
Yeah, like what if like a god of war, like a chaotic good god, was like, I want to be on the mortal plane again so I can rage war and bask in the glory of battle, kind of thing. Like, that's,
Yeah.
can you imagine King just running off in the battle just trying to kill everybody?
Right. And like, you guys didn't hear this, nor has I don't think the episode has been released yet live at the time of this recording, but so meta alert, during the void session, when the Burning Hand first found out about King, it was more like a gasp. I need you to get on this shit, Monaco. So it's like, it's not like they know until they know.
Oh boy.
Isn't it like gods are not omnipotent?
Yeah, they're not omnipotent.
They just know. They just have the ability to know a lot of shit.
Yeah.
They can know anything, but they don't actively know
It's
anything.
more like
Exactly.
Greek gods, where they're like
Yeah.
people, but they're super powerful.
Exactly. They're like, they're like, oh, that's going on. Hold on, let me tune into it. They don't know
Yeah.
to tune into the channel. Now they're tuning into King's channel.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it.
But yeah, I'm excited to see where that's gonna go. Yeah, King is like a gateway to gods.
I'm excited for the artwork of King's channel. I see him with a little apron and Monaco in the kitchen.
And don't forget that looming prophecy of the king to be crowned.
Oh God, right?
Oof.
A lot of stuff there. But continuing on, so you guys made your way to the city to check out the Corporis Arcana, and Duran saw a little thieves' cant hiding on the side of a building. I had something. Well, I do have something still planned for all that's built out, but I didn't. For whatever reason, I was thinking they'll probably get to that, but you went straight to Corporis Arcana, so it was like that's fine. So I opened up that little option so that you'll see, because I know you guys have not had the most of downtime where things to do since the beginning of Frostmourne. It's been constant go 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 ever since Deja Vu, but now it seems like you have possibly some time, or you have at least a few days before this magnificent gala that's supposed to be going on, if you can even get entry to that, or if you can even get entry to see the King Terminus, as they said about 410 day or 310 day to see him. So it seems right now at least you have plenty of time. But what is going through, and this is for Duran's mind, after seeing that little thieves' cant, catching it where no one else did, about the bloodline?
It seemed really, really interesting and kind of suspicious and ominous. But to be 100% with you, Tailweather, Duran is kind of more focused on really kind of, getting through this event they're in right now. There's a giant horde of zombies coming, and they've had a really close brush with death. He also kind of wants to do something nice for King while he's here, but he doesn't want to spoil it for him. So those are the main things going through his mind right now. The Thieves' Cant adventure is kind of on low priority on his scale, but he thinks that the thieves might be a good option for information if something happens.
Right.
If I may interject, out of character, I thought, oh man, is he gonna get some form of weapon that causes bleeding damage or some shit? Just because of the fact that it's called the Bloodlet, and I'm like, he might get a new weapon. That's what Duran's been doing at least. So it's oh, that's exciting. So part of me actually kind of wants to go there. At least Lewis, not Horatio, but Lewis wants to go there just because I want to see what that's like, what happens. You get me? Is it just Duran fighting, or is it going to be you can bring your team on board? And it's oh, we're about to run through people.
Oh yeah, some underground murder rings. Fuck yeah.
Who knows? So then finally we're looking up in the sky, you see the floating Corporis Arcana headquarters and its gigantic castle, but before you could get there, you had to go to the registrar's office of Corporis Arcana. Stepping in there was busy and crazy, not as organized as when you first entered in there into the actual town, but Horatio was greeted by one of the magistrates who was running the place and revealed who he was. I will say I was shocked. I didn't think you would come out and straight say it, but you revealed who you were, showed your tattoo that we all now see, that Horatio has a large circular magic circle tattoo in his back, and was basically summoned, whistled, and like a lost puppy coming, peering through an arcane gate was the Archmage himself. Horatio Lewis, what is going through your mind after being called out as a traitor and meeting the Archmage of Duskhaven?
That's about a quote of it. Um, yeah, no, Horatio is like, okay, because he's kind of not. I don't want to say he's not used to understanding how much the name means, or at least how much it meant in the Broken Lands, the Dularian name. But dropping it here and seeing how everything came to a screeching halt, like that's a Dularian. I was like, okay.
Everything dropped.
Yeah, like it literally, it was when we walked in, it was bustling and it was moving, and Horatio even felt like he was back in his Corporis days. And the instant he said, I'm a descendant of Dularian, what? Yeah, like everybody
Pump the
stopped.
brakes.
Yeah, and I was like at the immediately when that happened, Horatio was like, I shouldn't have said it, but he already did, and due to the urgency of everything that's going on, he feels like now's no time to hold information back or anything like that. I need to get us any help I can get us. I need to get it.
And then the rest of you, you can answer in any order. Seeing this happen, I mean, you knew Horatio was a powerful wizard, but his name, and you knew that you all knew everything about his past when it comes to like his mother and his lineage, and now you're actually seeing it in action. What is going through all of your minds?
Oh, so that's what that tattoo was.
Yes, you saw it during the Sapphire scrub.
You saw it early.
It was like, what was that? And then, oh.
And I actually asked Omar, because I was like, Omar, I don't think Horatio has ever taken his shirt off in front of anyone, so no one's gonna know he has this tattoo until we went to the salt scrub.
Yeah, I didn't know that you had that until you showed it, like literally in that moment. But King feels like they're not mutually exclusive clubs. He's like, yeah, sure, I'll be a seeker. Yeah, I'll be in the arcane. Yeah, I'll be in the whatever. Like, it doesn't seem like it's, I don't know, to him, he's like, yeah, I'll go adventure and do stuff, and sometimes I'll turn into the seekers. Oh, the arcane people want knowledge? Yeah, okay, I'll give them knowledge too. So he's sort of like in that mindset, like, don't be mad at him. Of course he wanted to do other shit. Like, he's still part of the Corporis Arcana. He's just now also an adventurer. Like, deal. And like, that's sort of how King is thinking about it right now.
And yet you would think that.
And yet they are.
Yeah, and you definitely got the feel, like when you were discussing with Lancel way back when, they were like, don't go joining any other guilds. I mean, you're dedicated to it, like this is your job and your loyalties are here. But they were more lenient to like, we understand your adventure, whereas Corporis seems more like, how fucking dare you?
Yeah, I think exactly as you described. I think that's why he sort of feels that way, is because of the impression the Seekers gave him. He's like, the other guilds are probably like that too.
Nope, not the Corporis, boy.
I kind of see it like it's academia. It's hard to get a paradigm shift in, which is why I'm like pushing for and I'm cheering for Horatio to be that shift where it's like you can find crazy lost artifacts and still be in the pursuit of knowledge. They're not like King, like Travis and King were saying. They're not mutually exclusive. Like you can go after both pursuits.
Sounds like the Corporis is a bunch of prudes.
I mean, they gave him. I mean, I can imagine from their perspective, they gave him a cool magic books and stuff, and a cool tattoo, and this is how they repay him.
I mean, there is still much more.
There's still a lot more to talk about. Yeah.
To Horatio, we were
goodness,
raping at the surface.
We're gonna.
God,
So
what
our
are you
opinions-
holding?
Our
A fresh
opinions
bowl
may
of
change.
Horatios.
Yeah,
no,
mhm.
the next episode, it's a full hearty Horatio's breakfast.
Y'all like
I feel like
Horatio's
it's gonna be
so
lunch for
good. You're like, Horatio's so good. He's so wise. He's perfect. Nice. Time for some truth.
Horatio's the best.
No, wait, Durand doesn't think it's
Don't
possible
spoil
for
it.
him to be guilty of a crime. If there is anything he is guilty of, then it can't be a crime in Durand's eyes.
The crimes are wrong.
The crime is wrong. If Horatio is wrong, then the law is wrong.
Oh my God. It feels like we're barreling towards a TP Horatio.
And then you met the Archmage, very tall, just as or almost tall as Duran. So he's very bald head, dark skin, with a beautiful wizard robes that are definitely much more ornate than everybody else's that you see. So you know he's swirling with some magic. Very intimidating. Stepping through his arcane gate, you guys went through and teleported miles and miles above the into the sky onto the floating island that is the Corporis Arcana, and that's where we had ended. So, final thoughts, predictions, and thoughts, or anything you have on what is to come about your merry band of adventurers.
Horatio jailbreak.
Oh yeah, like Travis is worried that King is gonna have to be like, "I'm a god" to like break him out of like the magic jail.
No, I should be so upset if you did that.
You know,
especially in the Corporis, like that. Like at that point, it's a liberator's jailbreak.
I feel like I'm gonna have to be like, and I'm now Mila King. Boof, boof. You're a tree. You're a tree. You're a tree. You're a tree. Don Cheadle-esque. Don Cheadle style.
Oh my goodness.
Fuck you. You're cool. Fuck you.
I'm just like excited. Like no, I was like, I don't want to end because like this is what I was trying to get to while making sure you understand all the nuances and things of the Arcane Capital. I was like, I want to get here so much because there's just so much juice in the Corporis Arcana, and I can like I've been dying to dig into Horatio's story from the Galeem. From when all this I've held on to since Galeem, which was like a year ago at this point. And I'm just like, finally, and I'm just like, I want it because I just love it, and I'm just so excited. It's gonna be so much fun.
A prediction I have, which is just one of my insane conspiracy theories of the world that is the Void. I think that Doramo might have a man on the inside in the Corporis.
Oh, probably.
Goops, didn't even consider it.
Yeah, I didn't think of that.
I think like Horatio, he's going in there to see if he can get help, but he still doesn't think he can trust them. And he has several reasons. The heaviest one is what we're going through right now.
Good to know. Interesting to see how things will unfurl. Any other final thoughts?
Duran doesn't want to explode.
Oh yes, get too far away from the people who let you in there, and they may not be able to adjust the magical energies around you, and your body will implode, or you'll just be ejected out into the gem district.
Yeah, I think you'll get ejected first before you get. Like, it's if you resist the ejection, then you'll just...
Well, Menden did say, just don't test that theory.
Yeah.
We've been over this. King will make sure that he sucks all the magic out of
my virgin ears.
I imagine if it does happen, like, what was that movie where, like, no one remembered who they were because the aliens were sucking them up? The Forgotten. You ever seen The Forgotten? Anybody? Oh, man.
Spoiler alert.
I sort of also, like, I have no idea and no, like, reason to think this, but for some reason, King's like, since I, like, almost broke the scale just by, like, touching my finger on it, this whole, like, business of, like, sucking magic up within a space around people to keep them safe, King totally thinks that his radius is all, like, leagues bigger than everyone else's. I think that Duran could be like more than, like you said, I think 60 feet was like, he was like, don't push it. I think King feels like that radius is probably somewhere more like 500 feet.
Is he
like
willing to risk it?
No, he's not willing to risk it, but he still thinks and feels that way. He thinks that he has like at least a decent amount of leeway.
There is a way to test it. Horatio has Arcane Gate.
What? We're just gonna like, here, Duran, you want to try to see if you explode?
Duran, you want to see if you could die?
Bye.
You know what though? But if they get in trouble, it'd be a good excuse for them to say, "Oh no, Duran's shaking. It looks like he's gonna explode. There's been too much magic in him. Everyone get away!
Everyone, quickly! We have to get him out of here.
He's not supposed to be here."
I would like to see, because Duran will definitely get blindsided by that statement. I would like to see Duran in the moment try to act like he's about to explode.
Throw me a performance check.
or deception, right? Might be even worse.
Well, yeah. Still
Part of me also thinks that. So here's my conspiracy theory about the Corporis Arcana. They say that there's that ley line and that the center of the city was built on it, and that's why. I, Travis, think that that's not totally the truth, and that they are blowing the there's too much magic out of proportion to segregate people based on their on their magic prowess. That's sort of my conspiracy theory. King doesn't think.
Okay, I didn't think of that. That's actually a good one, and I will study this, sir.
Yeah.
I wonder if the.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, nothing. Just musings.
Because I think that. I think that a little bit, and the reason why King definitely doesn't think that is when we were going over the Gray District, which was the first ring, he specifically asked for insight on how they were talking about the lowest tiered magical prowess people, and there was no disdain or incredulity or looking down upon them. It was, they're merchants and they serve a part of society too. It's just that we keep them there because it's the safest for them, and it's totally fine, and they're a valued part of society too. So because that felt normal and that felt like a valid reason, King is okay. But Travis doesn't think that.
I'm loving your theories. These are really good theories. They're very interesting. I can't wait to everything comes to light. But cool. My final words. My final words is I for whatever reason really love Horatio's tattoo, and the fact that the Archmage put his finger on his back and it started to shift and turn, and he's like, "Now I know who you are." It's your ID's for permanently tattooed on your back. But I'm curious. And then we did hear that every Corporis has that, but the deeper your lineage or the more powerful you are, the larger yours, and he has a back's worth versus an arm's worth. So definitely can't wait to see that to be explored more in the next episode. But that is all the time we have. Once again, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Thank you guys out there so much for listening from the first chapter to the last page. We love you, and thank you once again. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.